The night Emma Olivia finally broke. The house was too quiet to ignore. Rain tapped the windows of the small Vermont home like nervous fingers, and the old clock in the hallway clicked louder than it ever had before. Emma lay awake on her bed, staring at the ceiling, counting cracks she had never noticed when Daniel was alive. 6 months had passed since the accident, yet the air still felt heavy. Like grief had weighed and pressed on her chest every time she breathed. She told herself she was fine during the day. She worked, cooked, smiled for her son. But night was honest, and honesty hurt. She turned on her side, reaching for the empty space where Daniel used to sleep. Her hand met cold sheets. Her throat tightened. She didn't want to cry again, but tears came anyway, silent and stubborn. She pressed her face into the pillow so the sound wouldn't travel down the hall. Liam had already lost his father. She didn't want him to hear his mother falling apart to dot down the hallway. Liam lay awake in his own bed. He had been pretending to sleep for a long time, listening. The house sounded different now. It used to feel safe and full, even at night. Now it felt hollow, like something important had been taken out and never replaced. Liam hugged his pillow and stared at the glow in the dark. Stars on his ceiling. He missed his dad in sharp, sudden ways, but what scared him more was his mom's sadness. It was quiet sadness. It's the kind that didn't yell or throw things. It's the kind that sank into corners and stayed. Earlier that evening, Liam had done something he hadn't told anyone about. After finishing his homework, he sat at the kitchen table with crayons spread around him. He drew slowly, carefully, erasing and redrawing lines until his fingers smudged the paper gray. It was a picture of their family. It's not the way it was now, but the way it felt in his heart. 3 people holding hands. His dad taller than the rest, his mom smiling. Above them, he wrote words he had practiced spelling twice. He folded the paper, slid it into an envelope, and wrote his name on the front because he wanted her to know it was from him. Now, lying in the dark, Liam decided he couldn't wait until morning. He slipped out of bed, the wooden floor cool under his feet. He held the envelope tight, afraid the courage might fall out if he loosened his grip. The hallway light was off, but he knew every step by memory. He stopped at his mother's door and listened. He heard her breath hitch. He heard the quiet sound of crying. Liam took a deep breath and opened the door. The room smelled like lavender and old books. A lamp on the nightstand was still on, its light soft and tired. Emma lay on her side, her back to the door, shoulders shaking. Liam felt his chest hurt in a way he didn't have words for. He stepped inside and closed the door, as gently as he could. For a moment, he just stood there watching her, unsure what to do next. Adults were supposed to fix things. Kids were supposed to be fixed. But no one had told him what to do. When the adults were broken, he walked to the bed and carefully placed the envelope on the nightstand. Then he climbed onto the mattress, slow and cautious, like he was entering sacred space. The bed dipped and Emma stirred, but she didn't wake. Liam lay down beside her, facing her back, and reached for her hand. It felt warmer than he expected. He held it the way his dad used to, firm but gentle, like it mattered. "It's okay." "Mom," he whispered, barely louder than the rain. "I'm here." Emma's breathing slowed. Her body relaxed without her knowing why. The crying stopped, as if some part of her felt safe enough to rest. Liam closed his eyes, still holding her hand. He stayed awake longer than he meant to, thinking about school and dinner and the way his mom's smile used to look before it became tired. He promised himself he would help her smile again, even if he didn't know how yet. Emma woke just before dawn. For a second, she didn't know where she was. Then she felt the weight beside her and froze. Her heart raced until she turned her head and saw Liam. He was asleep, his face calm, lashes resting on his cheeks. His hand was wrapped around hers. Emotion hit her all at once. Love, fear, sadness, gratitude. She swallowed hard and carefully sat up, not wanting to wake him. That's when she noticed the envelope. She picked it up, hands shaking, and opened it. The drawing inside was simple, but it took her breath away. She traced the crayon lines with her finger. When she read the words, her vision blurred. "We are still here, Mom." Something inside her cracked open. Not in a painful way, but in a way that let air in. She pressed her lips to Liam's hair and held him close. The rain had stopped. Morning. Light slipped through the curtains, pale and unsure. Like it was asking permission to stay. Emma lay back down and let herself rest. For the first time since Daniel's death, sleep came easily. Not because the pain was gone, but because she wasn't carrying it alone. She didn't know yet that this night was only the beginning. She didn't know that small acts of love could lead to bigger changes. All she knew was that her son had climbed into her bed, held her hand, and reminded her that even in loss, life still reached for her. Morning came soft and pale, like it was unsure if it was welcome. Emma woke before the alarm, her body still, her mind already moving. Liam slept, curled beside her, his hand loose now, his breathing slow and even. She watched him for a moment, memorizing the way his hair fell across his forehead, the calm on his face. He looked younger when he slept, less like a boy trying to be strong, more like the child he still was. She gently slipped out of bed and covered him with the extra blanket. In the kitchen, she made coffee and stood by the window, watching the street wake up. A neighbor walked a dog, a car started. Life went on, steady and unbothered. She told herself that was a good thing. When she opened her laptop, she meant to check work emails. Instead, her eyes went straight to the name that sat unread in her inbox. Michael Carter. Seeing it again made her chest tighten, not with pain, but with memory. She hadn't heard from him in over a decade. He belonged to a different version of her life, one that felt far away but not erased. She opened the email and read it again. Slower this time, 'twas kind, careful. There was no pressure in his words, no demand, just presence. It's just someone reaching out. Emma closed the laptop and pressed her palms to her eyes. She wasn't ready, or maybe she was afraid she was. Liam came into the kitchen, rubbing his eyes. "You're up early," he said. "So are you," Emma replied, forcing a smile. He climbed onto a chair and watched her pour cereal. "Did you sleep better?" "Yes," she said honestly. "I did." He nodded like that was what he expected. Good. After she dropped him at school, Emma drove aimlessly instead of going straight home. She passed the grocery store, the park Daniel used to take Liam to, the coffee shop where she once met Michael years ago by accident and pretended not to feel anything. She parked and turned off the engine. Her phone buzzed with a reminder about a school meeting later that week. Normal things. Life things. She went home and opened the laptop again. This time, she typed. Her reply was short at first. Then she deleted it. The second one felt too cold. The third felt too open. Finally, she wrote something that felt true. She didn't reread it. She pressed send and closed the laptop before she could change her mind. The rest of the day moved fast. Laundry, dishes, a phone call with her sister in Oregon. She didn't mention the email. Some things needed space to breathe. When Liam came home, he talked about a science project and a kid who got in trouble for throwing a paper airplane. Emma listened, really listened, and laughed when she was supposed to. It felt good to be present. That evening, after Liam went to bed, her phone buzzed. Michael had replied, he didn't rush, he didn't push. He said he understood if she needed time. He said he remembered her laugh. He said he was glad she wrote back. That was all. Emma stared at the screen for a long time. She didn't feel guilt this time. She felt nervous, the kind that came with standing on the edge of something new. Over the next few weeks, emails turned into messages. Messages turned into phone calls. They spoke late at night, voices low, words careful. Michael asked about Liam. He spoke about his work in Seattle, his quiet apartment, the way some nights still felt too quiet even without loss. He never compared himself to Daniel. He never crossed lines. He waited. Emma found herself looking forward to the sound of his voice. It surprised her how easy it felt, like picking up a book she had once loved and realizing the story still made sense. One night, Liam heard her laughing in the kitchen. He paused at the hallway, listening. It wasn't loud laughter. It was soft, real. He smiled to himself and went back to bed. The first time Michael suggested visiting, Emma said no. Too soon, too complicated. He accepted it without question. The second time, months later, she didn't answer right away. Liam was growing, healing. She was too. The third time, she said maybe. Michael came in the fall. Vermont was painted in red and gold. Emma met him at a small cafe, her heart racing, like it was her first date ever. When she saw him, older now but familiar, something settled inside her. They hugged, brief and careful, but the warmth stayed. They talked for hours. About the past, but not too much. About the present. More about grief and how it reshapes people. Michael listened more than he spoke. When he reached for her hand, across the table, he waited for her to meet him halfway. She did. Liam met Michael a week later. Emma watched closely, nervous. Michael knelt to Liam's level, spoke to him like he mattered, asked him about school and comics and dinosaurs. He didn't try to be anything other than himself. Liam liked that. That night after Michael left, Liam sat on Emma's bed. "He's nice," he said. Emma nodded. "He is." "You smiled a lot," Liam added. Emma swallowed. "Did that bother you?" Liam shook his head. "Dad would want you to smile." The words hit her harder than anything else had. She pulled him into a hug and held on longer than usual. Life didn't turn perfect. It never does. There were hard days, moments of doubt, nights when grief returned without warning. But there was also warmth, connection, the slow rebuilding of something broken. Emma learned that love doesn't replace, it adds. It doesn't erase the past. It honors it by continuing forward. And every night, when she turned off the light, she knew this much was true. The night Liam came to her bed didn't just save her from loneliness. It opened the door to a future she thought had closed forever.